Yo, 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 it's D.Arthur in the building. I'm talking to you guys today about why semen retention will make you a little bit more irritable. And if you do things, some certain things properly, you might really just have your way in life, in attraction, in business, and in anything in general. Like, if you go on semen retention on purpose, you start realizing first of all, your standards are going to be skyrocketed. You start realizing, because the biggest scam, the biggest trap that we all really were fed to believe is that the S3X is everything. It's everything. If she gives you, let's say, if she gives you coochie, then you're accomplished as a man. And to be honest, that really might not actually be the case, because think about all of the people who say these things. They probably have, let's say, one source of income. Their priorities are not straight, and they're probably hitting the clubs every single weekend. They probably have no identity as to who they are, and they have to live vicariously through other people who are actually doing something with their life. Think about where all of that's led to you. I mean, I'm not saying like going out is a bad thing. It's just that if you really don't have any priorities, and you don't have an identity of who you are or who you're becoming, it's just gonna be a lot harder for you to really live to be on your purpose. And being on your purpose is a prerequisite to, one, finding freedom, and two, attracting high quality women. Because if you keep consistently bust nuts, relapse on every type of woman that you see, you're not really gonna have that fulfillment that you really want. You're gonna feel a void, because the thing is the person you decide to have S3X with, the intercourse with, is you're releasing endorphins when you're bonding with somebody. So if you keep consistently doing it with a lot of people, then you're never really going to be that fulfilled. You're never really going to be that fulfilled, because it seems like you're always chasing something. You're never really satisfied. And like I said, most of the people who make, let's say, relationships their priority, are people with low goals, low income for themselves, and just low goals, and they don't have any goals. They're too occupied about arguing with a woman. If you're arguing with a woman, you're basically saying that you think that you're very, let's say, let me use my words correctly here. If you're arguing with let's say, a woman, you start realizing that, like, let's say, female nature, you're not really, let's say, hip to female nature. Because the thing is, like, she's gonna do whatever is best for her. We have guys always arguing about things and why she's doing this, why she's doing that. And the thing is, like, bro, you don't love yourself enough. Like, your priorities are not straight. You don't have any goals. You talk about this big game like you want to be somebody, but your actions don't line up. You're consistently hitting the clubs every single weekend. You have, like I said, you have no identity. You have no purpose. You have to live through other people. You have to fill some void. You have to drink booze every night to feel good about yourself. You hate your job, so you have to do other things to fill that void. You're not on your purpose. You don't have any mission. You don't have any priorities. You put pussy on a pedestal. If there's two types of men in the world. We have a drifter and a non-drifter. A drifter is somebody who really goes through life meaningless, purposeless, isn't intentional, and is always just living just to live. Like, he has no really meaning behind. And we have someone who's a non-drifter who is going to a clear, definite purpose and mission. There are two types of people in the world: drifters and non-drifters. Which one are you? Like, the time has come that the whole, like, one night stand, hit it, quit it. Like, you're not even, like, it's no longer about it. And if you go on retention, you start realizing, like, it's not even really about, let's say, her looks is a factor of obviously, because, but you really start realizing it's pretty much about behavior. It's pretty much about behavior. Because when Big Sean was like on his song, he was like, he realized when it comes to girls that chemistry means more than anatomy, and it really is about how much can your presence change her behavior. This is pretty much the deciding factor. If, let's say, if you're doing things right, or if you're not doing things right, can your mere presence make her change the way she is acting? Just because you have presence there. It's about having presence. A lot of you guys don't have any energy. You need energy to have presence. If you don't have any energy, you're gonna be looked overlooked. You're not gonna be you're significant. You're not gonna be significant. The words that you say won't have any meaning. You won't have any significance between what you're saying. You guys are too people in general. Society right now is just too focused on just putting things on a pedestal, and you guys aren't. People in general are just not fulfilled with their own self. Like, you have to worry about yourself. You have your life has to be a mirror of your reflections and your values. You have to stand for something. You have to stand for something. I mean, people might say that he's just talking, blah blah blah. But when push comes to shove, like, who really decided to do something with their life, and who decided to just play around and take their life for, let's say, granted? Because things will start showing themselves eventually. It's no longer about like, it's about how she acts it's about her behavior around you. It's about, is she afraid to lose you? It's about, are you a catch enough? Like, all of these things matter. Like, if you're an average, let's say, if you're an average guy, if we're all average, then the best thing for you to do, if you're, let's say, struggling with attraction and everything, is just try to stand out. To try to do something different. And like I said, when you go on retention, when you go on no fap on purpose, you're gonna be irritable. You're gonna be irritable. If you're a man and you have to wake up and you have to go to somewhere, you have to go somewhere to provide for your family, then you should be ticked off. You should be ticked off. You should be ticked off. The reason why is because you're not self-sufficient. The whole point is to be self-sufficient. If you have to wake up to go somewhere and depend on somebody else to give you money to give to, let's say, provide for your family, and you're not working towards anything for yourself in the future, then you really should be worried. You really should be worried. And your focus should be on creating multiple streams of, let's say, income for yourself. So when, let's say, your employer doesn't need you anymore, you're not wondering where your next check will come from. Like, everybody thinks it's a joke. Everyone pays attention to CNN. They pay attention to this. They pay attention to this. But they don't realize that you actually create your own reality. And whatever you're habitually focusing on is what you're getting. Your perspective is changing your outer reality. Your focus is changing your outer reality. So, I mean, it'd be in your best interest to, like I said, cancel out all the noise and focus on the things that you want. And like I said, you're going to be a little bit more irritable. And this could be a good thing for your advantage. This could be a good thing. Because once you become irritable, being irritable means that you have energy, and that's a good thing. And if you're irritable, you're gonna want to take some action to try to change something to make it better for yourself. You're just gonna just want to change, because, like, if you relapse and you're constantly busting, you don't have any vigor for life anymore. You really think that you've accomplished what you need to do. So you really don't have any vigor for life. And if you don't have any vigor for life, that's a problem, because you're going to be stuck in the same spot. Like I said before, if you're a man and you have to wake up and you have to go somewhere to provide, let's say, for yourself or for your family, then you should be ticked off. You should be ticked off. The whole goal is, let's say, freedom. The whole goal is to be able to make ends meet on your own, to be self-sufficient, to be your own boss, to have your own means of making money. So if something like a coronavirus comes in, then you're still well off, and you're not depending on somebody else who really doesn't care that much about you to make ends meet. But people are too focused on what the game is, what the game is for the night, or they're too focused on the actions of their spouse. They're never focused on themselves. They're always making excuses. They're not fully in success. They don't have the successful mindset. They're just becoming, they're just doing things just to do it. They're everybody's man. They say yes to everything. They say yes to everything. If you're saying yes to everything, then there's a problem. You have to prioritize. There has to be a reason why you say yes to certain things and no to certain other things. If it wastes your time, if you're not getting a return on investment, it would be in your best interest to not do it. And like I said, you're going to be very irritable. The smallest things may make you a little bit angry, and it's up to you to transmute the anger into productivity. So over in the long run, you're looking at yourself and you're saying, wow, what a job well done. And this is how some certain people have become great. Like Kobe Bryant, he used this thing called dark energy, and it's this thing where it's like a him versus the world mentality, and he uses maybe people's disbelief or things that didn't pan out in his favor, and then he uses that energy, that drive, to fuel his work ethic. And then people are looking back at him and wondering how did he become so very developed in his craft. Like I said, if you're a man, you have to use irritability. You have to use, let's say, some sort of energy, some sort of core emotional distress that you might have had in the past, and you have to use that fuel to create something for yourself in the long run. And this is how you become. It's called using your creative energy to monetize yourself, to really live abundantly. This is how this is the difference between people who work, let's say, normal jobs, and people who are self-sufficient. Because the very self-sufficient people, the people who rely on themselves, let's say their skill set, maybe if they're a self-made actor or something like that, they're using their creative energy to monetize themselves. And usually these are the people who have a lot more wealth than the person who just trades their time for money. Now, but the thing is, like, none of this was taught in school. We were taught to trade our time for money. We were taught to be dependent on an employer to feed our families. And if you're dependent on somebody else to feed your family, and like I said before, this is a big problem. This is a very big problem, and people don't look at it twice. They look at it once. They don't think it's that much of a problem. They just do it just to do it. They say things like, oh, everyone's doing it, so just do it. They don't look at their habits. They're always the victim. They're always complaining. They say things like, she wants someone who's like this. But little do they realize that anybody can become anybody, and they just have to change their habits. They change their habits. Like I said, there's this thing called the slight edge. It's whatever you consistently do on a consistent basis is what you end up becoming. For an example, is someone who is, let's say, a little bit, let's say, obese. That simple error in judgment, meaning that simple error of, let's say, eating more than they burn, compounded over an extended period of time, is how they got to where they became. So it'd be in our best interest to change the habits. And like I said, semen retention helps you start looking at life from a different perspective. You start really realizing why things worked out before and why things didn't work out before. And like I said, your let's say your dissatisfaction with maybe where you currently are or how things turned out is what you should be using to feel the next version of you, the greatest version of you, the person that you really wanted to become. So I mean, it's up to you to make that choice. So yeah, like, comment, and subscribe below. We will see you in the next video. Peace.